on Charlie. He was just,
I miss Charlie.
yeah, I do too. Yeah.
Marcia's doing a real good job on the city council.
Yeah, I think that's one that she'll run again.
I don't know. I'd say she will.
Yeah.
They seem to like her.
Yeah.
Did you go to Catholic church this morning?
No, we didn't go this morning. My wife, she's kind of down with bronchitis, and we didn't go this morning. But we've been going, and been going during this, this Danny, because we wear a mask.
Yeah. They have to make everybody wear a mask in the church.
Yeah, well, you don't have to. They did there for a while,
Yeah.
but now they don't, It's just whatever you want to do if you want to wear. And you can sell clothes together, too. You can sit close. The other time that before us opened it back up, it was just that you could go in and had to be so far apart.
It's been, what, a year now and 3 or 4 months since this started?
Yeah, it's been about a year and about 4 years and 4 months, yeah.
Well, I've never seen nothing like this. Have you?
No, I haven't either. And people that's been sick, poor Gene Officer, I tell you what, I called him every night. And,
While he was sick?
While he was sick, while he was in the hospital. And
I took him donuts.
Yeah, I had a brother-in-law that lives in Indiana, and he got it. And then one day he got it. They had to call the ambulance, and then the next day they had to call him from my sister-in-law. They both was in the hospital together. Now he didn't make it. He passed away, and it's a strange thing. He called me on Sunday night and said that he was going to get to go home on Monday. He was going home, and he called his 3 daughters and told them the same thing. And about 1 o'clock Monday morning, he passed away.
I never did get it. Did you get it?
No, I don't think I got it, but I believe I got some. I took the shots.
I did too.
And took one in December, and then I took one in the latter part of January. And we left to go to Florida on Wednesday. I got the shot on Monday. We went to Florida on Wednesday. I pulled my camper down. And on Thursday, I believe that I had a little touch of it.
Did it scare you?
Yeah, it scared me, yeah. And it would just come and go until I came back. And when I came back, I had to go to the hospital. And I had dehydrated. And my niece is a medical doctor, and she's put me in the hospital. And stayed in there 3 days, and I feel good now. But I believe that I had a after effect of that shot.
Yeah. No big deal, though, right?
No, it wasn't no big deal, huh? But I pulled that camper back, and I was sick, Yeah.
Is it tough driving a camper back from there? That'd make me a nervous wreck.
Well, it's not all that bad. We went down.
How long was the trailer or camper?
32 foot. And I pulled it down. Well, we split it. We went half and half. We stopped about halfway down and then finished on up. And then that's the way we did coming back. And, oh, Lord, I don't care to pull it, It don't bother me.
Where do you park it at?
We parked it down there at...
like right now, where's it parked
I've got it parked beside my house. I did have it parked up on the lake. A lot I've got up there next to my cabin.
Yeah.
And we used it last weekend, and we went to Blue Water over to Dayton.
Is it self-contained, or you plug it into a thing?
No, it's self-contained. You can hold it for at least 2 days. But I can plug it in, to a sewer system.
Then you got to pump it out?
No, it's gravity flow.
Oh.
Yeah, it's on. You got gray water and black water. And you dump your black water out first, and then you dump your gray water out.
If you had that hooked to a septic tank, could you just live in one of them all the time and be fine?
Yeah. Yeah.
This idea of having $500,000 houses is not necessary, is it?
No. See, that's what I do up at the cabin. I've got an extra lot up there. It's got a septic tank.
Yeah.
And when I pull it up there, I've got a discharge hose, and I just pull it in and put it in that tank, and and it's just like living in a house. You know, you got your water and your electricity and all.
Stove and
Yeah.
does it have gas hookup?
It's got gas
Propane?
or electric. Gas or electric.
You have to switch it over.
It's automatic. You push a button.
Oh.
And I could tell you about this. We was in Florida, and I've got a picture on my phone. I had this little old tree frog. He was sitting out there on the side of my trailer, sitting up there next to the window, just sitting up there. Well, he disappeared, and I was looking for see if my gas was turned on. I took my tank covers off, and there he sat. So I didn't think nothing about it. So we pulled that trailer. We started. We come on home with it, and you know that frog. He rode all the way from Florida, and my wife's got a flower bed beside the house with a waterfall. And that frog is in that in that little flower bed there, and you can hear him of a night croaking. He took about a 700-mile ride on that trailer.
Some frog mothers wondering where he's at.
Yeah, he got some babies somewhere. Yeah, we brought him back from Florida. Yeah.
You can't make that up, can you?
No, he's. I had a picture of him. You know, I've got a picture on my phone of him. Yeah. We have a good time in that camper, and you know, there's a lot of you meet a lot of people. A lot of.
They stay at camper parks or RV parks.
Yeah, we stayed in this one down in Florida. It was. It had 802.
Golly.
802 campsites, and it had it all. It had bingo on Monday night, it had family night on Tuesday. It was family night on Tuesday, and then just on Wednesdays just together, and you know, it's just you meet a lot of people.
It's a different community, RV parks, isn't it?
Oh yeah. And last week. When we was over Blue Water now, a lot of people don't know about Blue Water, but it's over right out of Dayton, over Highway 30.
Like going from Athens to Dayton?
Yeah, Athens to Dayton, right before you get to 27 over there. While the Blue Water, you turn to your left and go back and come back over on the river. And it's beautiful in there. They've got it real nice. They've got campsites, and they've got kid playground. Got fish. Got a big lake back there you can fish in.
How much does it cost to stay there?
Well, it's $55 a night. That's everything, Wi-Fi and all. They've got everything, all kinds of hookup.
They got a little grocery store?
Yeah, got a grocery store. And then they have on Saturday night, while they have country music on the patio down there next to the water. And
how long does it? Can you just go up there, or you got to?
No, you have to call ahead of time. It's just like yesterday. Now we went to Townsend, just riding around, and we went to Townsend up at the KOA campground, and we got reservations for the 6th, 7th, and 8th of September, and that's when the earliest we could get it. But they're awful high. And we're on the river up there. If we want to fish, we can fish, you know.
But the good thing about it is you haul the camper, and you got all your stuff with you.
Oh yeah, you don't have to just leave. We got a lot of stuff our clothes and stuff. We just leave them in there, you know. And they've got washatiers that you can wash your clothes. And
so how wide is it?
It's about 8.5 foot wide, and mine it's got a slide out, and that slide out, you know, it was for a hide bed and a couch with a hide bed. So what I did, I took that hide bed out. It's got a full-size bed in front with a fireplace and a TV up in front, and I took that hide bed out and put 2 recliners in there.
So you roll it out. How far does it extend out when you?
It extends out about 4 feet.
So that gives you 12.5 feet or so.
Yeah, it gives you plenty of room for two recliners. Yeah.
And it's got a fireplace?
Yeah, it's got a fireplace. It's electric fireplace, and it's got a TV. It's all made
When you
together.
get there, how long does it take you to hook it all up? Sewer, water?
If you're on a concrete slab, you can have everything hooked up in 30 minutes. But now if it's on just regular ground where you got the block up in under it, you got to get it pretty level to make your refrigerators work perfect. You got to do that.
Does it have like a leveler on there when you know it's level?
It's got levelers, yeah. And
How much does some of these things, your thing cost?
You can run them up. They run up to about. Well, you can get them. This one, you can get them up to about 100,000. There's one man pulled in bay down. There's a motorhome now. He pulled in down in Florida beside of me. The guy that was there, he moved. This lady that was there beside me, she was a financial advisor. And that's what she did. She operated out of that, it was a fifth wheel trailer. And she had a hot tub and everything in the back of it. And she was, she'd stay there, well, she was there for 2 months. And she pulled out whenever, I was there before I left. And this guy pulled in, and it was a motorhome. And I was talking to him about the motorhome. I said, boy, that's a real nice motorhome. He said, yeah, I think I got a good buy in it. And I said, yeah. He said, I'll give $580,000 for it. I thought, man, you can buy a house for that. Yeah. Because some of them's run up tire now.
So he drove his.
Yeah.
But you prefer pulling yours.
I'd rather pull mine.
That way you got a car when you get there.
Yeah. You have to tow if you don't.
Yeah.
That makes it bad, I'd rather pull a camper tow a car.
But I guess I'd rather have that than have a condo in Florida or something, because you can switch places that you go to, right? You could go out to Arizona.
Oh yeah, you can go. Well, David Fire, he's on his way back now. He may be home. He was in Michigan, I think, day before yesterday. He's been on a big tour.
Does he pull his?
He pulls his, yeah. And Rick Simpson, he and Donna, they've got one. And there's a lot of people's got them. And these campsites are popping up everywhere.
Are the are that pulling campers and RVs, is that more popular? It seems to me like it's more popular now than it used to be.
Oh, it is, yeah. This virus has made it, really made it pop up.
Because you don't stay in a motel.
Yeah, mm-hmm. You got your own bed. Yeah. Yeah, it's, I like it. You just park it, start talking to your neighbors,
You said you miss Larry Presswood.
Oh yeah, I miss Larry. Well, Larry was my buddy.
He was a good friend.
We
of
was
mine.
in different politics, but Larry,
Yeah.
it didn't matter. But
No.
he thought you was the best real estate agent there was, Old Larry.
He did. He was always complimentary.
Yeah, yeah, he was. Last time I talked to him was down at Elks Lodge, and he came in down there, and he was sitting there, and I told him, I said, Larry, where's your auction at? And he said, I didn't bring it in. And I said, you need it. He said, yeah, I need it. But he said, I said, you want me to go get it? He said, no, I'll be all right, And then he took COVID, I reckon, or pneumonia 1, or took it.
Something. I'm sure it was related
He went to Atlanta,
to it.
didn't he?
Went to Atlanta to stay with his son, and that's where he got. I think they were draining him.
Yeah.
How they do. He got COVID, got over COVID. Then he was doing something with his draining his stomach or something.
Oh yeah.
And he had a stroke.
Yeah.
And I think that's what.
Yeah, Larry he's smart.
He was smart, yeah.
Yeah, he was smart. Now he could get those grants.
Different politics, for sure.
Yeah. But he did that. I didn't argue politics with him or nothing like that.
No.
I just, he had his own thoughts and I had mine, and I just like Larry. He was just a good friend of mine, and he was a good friend of you too.
He was.
Yeah, and I never heard him. I've heard him, comment on some people, you know, but other than that, why he was, and you know, he had a good personality.
When's the first time you remember meeting Larry?
Meeting Larry?
Yeah.
I met him back when I was road superintendent. Back when he was he was a planner for the
Planner, yeah.
he was a planner for the city. You know.
What'd you do before the road superintendent?
I worked for combustion engineer in Chattanooga.
What made you quit and decide to be on the road department?
Well, I tell you how this happened. They was fixing to go out on strike at midnight.
About what year was this?
That was in 1971. Combustion was. They was fixing to go out on strike. Well, I was running a crane down there on the river yard. I unloaded all the material that came in down there. And I had a boss that he came out of purchasing. He didn't know, he hadn't been out there long enough to know what we could do and what we couldn't do. He came out there and that afternoon, and we're supposed to go out on strike on midnight. He come out there and he propped it up on the crane. And he said, "Hey, Lewis," and I said, "Yeah." He said, "Did you see them cars down through there?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "There's about 12 of them." He said, "They got to be unloaded by midnight." And I said, "Bill, there ain't no way you can unload them cars in 4 days, much less one shift." I stayed over a shift. I worked the day shift, but they helped me over the second shift to try to get them, thought I could unload all them cars. And he said, "I don't believe you understand what I'm telling you." And I said, "What's that?" He said, "Them cars are going to be unloaded by midnight." And I said, "I hope you understand what I'm fixing to tell you." I said, "If them cars gets unloaded by midnight, you'll unload them yourself. Here's your keys. I quit." And I just swung off that crane and went up there to the office and got my lunchbox, went to the bathhouse, changed clothes, and went home.
Was you ready to do that, or you just had enough?
I just had enough. I just had
About
enough.
how old were you then?
Well, I was about 30. I was 36, 37.
What was you going to do?
I was going to go on construction somewhere. I just made my mind up. That place down there, of course, it was going down. And it was, you know, and your benefits, you didn't have much benefit, no retirement. After I left there for 15 years of retirement, it was based on $2.10 an hour, 2 cents per year of service. And it wasn't up, you know. But on Sunday, after I quit that week, these 2 guys come to me and they said, "Ed, would you like to be road superintendent?" I said, "Bernie Barger's going to resign." And I said, "Well, yeah, I'd like to have that job." I said, "I've been worked with Lonis and everybody, you know, while I've been off some." And I said, "I'd like to have it." He said, "Well," I said, "we'll see if what we can do." Well, my name was put up that following Monday to be road superintendent. Well, my name was put up and Milford Miller's name was put up, which Milford was a good friend of mine. His name was put up, so it was 7-7, both, county commission. Well, they said it was a majority of it. And so Nettle Jackson, who was county executive or county judge back then, he called over at Nashville and talked to the comptroller over there. And the comptroller said it was a 13-man court because that Milford couldn't vote for himself. So it made it a 13-man court. So I had 7.
He had
and
6.
Had 6. So they ruled that I had the majority, and that's when I became in June of 71.
And then you had to run, right?
I ran again. I had it till 74. And in 1974, I had 8 to run against me in the primary. And then I had an opponent, and he beat me in 74. And then, let's see, 74, and then I ran again in 78 and got elected. beat the guy that beat me, and Bud Henry. Bud was a good friend of mine. I mean, I knew Bud when he ran against me. We didn't have no hard feelings, and it's just like Bob Hughes. See, Bob and I was real good buddies, and Bob's family and all. And I told him, I said, it's just like playing a football game or a baseball game. You beat me, and I'll try to beat you again, And that's what I told him the night I got beat in 1974. I said, I'll be back. And I came back and won, And, but I don't believe in making hardship, making enemies out of politics. I just don't believe it. I mean, I've got my friends that's Democrats, Republicans, and it's vice versa, And but then I served there, got beat in '86, and then I went to work for operating engineers at Chattanooga, and I went to work up Bowater, and worked up there for Bechtel for about 2.5 years, and I got on with TBA, stayed with them.
For a long time.
Yeah, I stayed with them about 14 years.
Before you went to combustion, what'd you do that before?
I worked. I graduated from high school in Meigs County in 1953.
Your whole family from Meigs County?
Yeah, I still got a farm up there.
Yeah.
And in 1953, I went. When I got out of high school, I went to work for the Meigs County Highway Department. I worked for them for about 2 years, and then 53, 54, 55, and then 55, I went to work for 3M over in Athens, construction company, road construction. And I stayed with them until some guys that I ran around with asked me if I wanted to go to work at combustion. They could, they was hiring, so I did, and I hired on down there in 1956, in May the 9th, 56.
Why did you come to start staying in Cleveland more after combustion?
Well, see, I got married. I met Betty, my wife, first wife. I met her in 19, and we got married in 58, and I met her in July of 56, and we dated for 2 years.
And she was from Cleveland?
No, she worked here in Cleveland.
Oh.
Her mother and daddy lived in Sylacauga, Alabama. And the reason she was in Cleveland was because Rufus Platt, he was president of Lee College. And Mary, his wife, my sister-in-law, she taught out at Bradley. She's guidance counselor out at Bradley. And Betty worked at Cleveland National Bank. That's where she worked, Cleveland National Bank.
And that's where you met her?
Yeah, I met her at here in Cleveland. And
what was you doing in Cleveland?
We was down at the racetrack, fooled around them race cars, and
what kind of
down at Cleveland Speedway.
Yeah, was it dirt track then?
Yeah,
of course?
the dirt track was, and Jim Chase built that. Well, those boys up there at home, they built a race car, so we all decided to come down here, to races on Saturday night, nothing else to do.
Would you drive in the race?
No. I tried once, and that was it, And I said, that ain't for me. But anyhow, so we was up there. And
so you just hanging out with them?
Yeah, I just hanging out with them. So they had music up there after the race of the night. Jim Chase had built a platform up there.
Now, which Jim Chase is that? Dean's daddy, or?
No, that's up here on North Lee Highway. Jackie. Jack Chase's daddy.
Let's see. I'm trying to place him. They're across from the Verizon store up there?
Yeah. See, Jim how come I made to get acquainted with him? See, I had a house. I bought a house down there in Honda Edition, and he had a big car lot up there. That was back then. That was Bradley County was the capital world of used cars,
Yeah.
And I'd go up there and see him.
How'd that turn out for him, right?
Yeah, but anyhow, I was down there, and I noticed this lady and this was standing there beside me, you know, and there was an elder lady with her, and so I saw this man. He came up there and he talked to her, you know, and was talking to her, and then he walked off. And I asked her, I said, "Is that your boyfriend?" I asked Betty, I said, "Is that your boyfriend?" She said, "No, that's just a friend of mine." Said his girlfriend works with me at the bank. Well, lo and behold, I didn't know who it was Jackie Evans. So Jackie came back, you know, was talking to her, and I got to talking to Jackie.
You didn't know Jackie then, right?
No, that's the first man I ever met from Cleveland, Jackie Evans, and that was in July of 1956, you know, and so yeah, old Jackie there, you know, and so we got to run around together some. His girlfriend and Betty, they were real good friends at the bank. So I said, "What about calling you sometime?" She said, "Well, you have to call me at the bank." So I called her at the bank, and we started dating. We dated for 2 years.
You couldn't call her at home?
Well, I could call her. You know, I called her at the bank, but she didn't have a phone.
Oh.
At that time, she was staying with that lady, you know,
Oh, yeah.
for a few months,
Yeah.
you know, trying to help the old lady out. And so anyhow, I called her, and we started dating, and we dated for 2 years. And then we got married. And Betty was a good lady, and then she was working at the bank, and then she went into the real estate, and she opened up a real estate office right across the street from where I live, there where Wendy's is at now.
Yeah.
Mr. Homer Rosser owned that house, and he fixed up a office in the basement there in that house, and that's where she had her office. And then she quit. She closed that office. She had some health issues, and she closed it. And then she went to work for Betty Lee, and she worked for Betty for maybe a year, and then she went with Sammy Jean Phillips, and that's where she worked until she retired. And then she passed. She took cancer, got cancer in 04. And then she lived to 06. She passed away in 06.
I remember that.
Yeah. And then I met Penny, who's a great lady. I met her, and we've been married. Got married in 07. And she's got 2 sons, Joe and John. I guess you know them, Joe and John. And I call Joe, he's a rod man. He makes fishing rods.
Fishing rods, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, John was he came here.
Yeah, John, he's a possum catcher.
Possum catcher, raccoon catcher.
Yeah. And so Joe, that's all he does now is make fishing rods. And
He must be good at it.
oh yeah, he is. He ships them rods everywhere. I mean, he ships them to California.
What a business, right?
Yeah, he got
Can
a
you
good-
imagine sitting at home and just making fishing rods? That'd be a good way to make a living with it.
Oh yeah, he can make 10 or 12 a day. You know, he makes them from the start. You know, from the stick on up. You know, makes a handle. See, he's got a patent on that handle.
That's what I understood. Yeah, it's got like cork inside it or something.
Yeah. And see, my brother-in-law, Penny's brother, he's an attorney up in Chicago, and he's a patent lawyer. And he's the one who got the patent for Joe's handle on his rods.
That way nobody else can steal the idea, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a good guy. Both them boys are. And of course, I've got Michael. You know him. You know, and he's became real bad health-wise now. He's down his back, and then he won't be able to work. I don't believe he'll be able to work no more.
Where did he hurt his back?
He hurt it years ago, and I don't know how he hurt it. I think he might have hurt it by lifting weights.
I think when in high school he lifted weights in the gym.
Yeah, that's right after he got married, and he started having back problems, and he's had it ever since. He's had it for 20-something years.
What would you say is the best time that you, in your working career, was it when you was at combustion or when you was roadman?
When I was working with TVA. See, I worked for 7 states, and I might be in Mississippi today, and they'd call me and they'd say, "You got to be in Knoxville."
What'd you do at the various places?
I run a crane.
They didn't have anybody else that could run it, or?
They bought that thing and signed it to me, and wherever that crane went, I drove it. And I could reach 170 feet in the air with it.
What'd you do with it?
I built these steel towers and put in a lot of microwave towers and set a lot of insulators, lightning resistors.
So when you set it up there, somebody was bolting it together or something?
Yeah, and spent a lot of time down in Alabama, Mississippi. Spent a lot of time in Mississippi raising those towers. See, when the water gets down so low to the ground, they've got to go in there and take part of the tower out. Maybe take out about 8 foot and put 12 foot in. So what I'd have to do is pull in there and hook that thing up to that tower. And of course, the electricity would be cut off, but you could still pick up some of that static electricity. And but you had to be real careful.
Where'd the static electricity come from?
You just pick it up out
Just
there.
like touching carpet or something?
Yeah. And
I wouldn't imagine that'd be a thing, but I guess it would be.
Well, there's one boy that I worked with. In fact, the boy that's got my farm rented up there right now, he was on a tower with a boy, and he picked up static electricity, and it killed him. And it like got the boy that's got my farm leased up there.
So it's just like when you touch carpet and you touch somebody, it's just magnified.
Yeah, it'll grab you and hold you. You know, and it's. But I met a lot of people. I spent 11 months in Mountain City, up on them mountains.
Where's that at?
That's up at well, it's right out of Boone, North Carolina.
Oh.
And I guess the worst I've ever been scared. I went to work one morning, and the guy that our operators were supposed to ride in those helicopters. You know, we set poles in them mountains, in the helicopters. And I went in that morning, and Slater Smith, my foreman, he said, "Lewis, said, Jim's not going to be here today." He said, "You're going to have to ride that helicopter." And I said, "What?" He said, "You're going to have to ride that helicopter." And I said, "Ride that helicopter?" He said, "Yeah." So what you had to do, you had to sit in that helicopter, and you had to sit on the floorboard and let your feet rest down on the runners. And you wore radio control and everything, and you had to communicate with the pilot. And he'd go down in the valley and pick up a pole, and we'd take that pole up on them mountains and get over the people that had the boys already come in there and drill the holes, you know, by hand now. 14, 16, or 18 foot.
How'd they dig that deep by hand?
They had to dig it by hand. They call them alligators. Big old post hole diggers.
Long.
Yeah, about 20 foot long. Take 2 of
Golly.
them, you know. They'd get that rock. Sometimes they'd have to shoot them, get them loose. Well,
And you wouldn't pull ups, but maybe this much dirt at a time.
I know it, yeah. And might take them 2 days to dig one hole. And we went over that hole, you know, and you get over there and you tell that pilot, right, left, up, back, and then he'd get over that hole, and you'd say, "Let her down." And he had a winch on that, and he'd let it down and sit there and hold that pole.
Did the pilot let the winch down?
Yeah, the pilot let the winch down. He controlled everything. And you told him, and he controlled it. And he let that winch down and that pole, and he'd run off guy wires. We had guy ropes, what it was. There's 3 of them. And they'd guy that thing off and get that post, and I'd say, "Cut her loose." And we'd go back and get another. And that's the most scared. I was
Because you're sitting on the edge?
just, of course, I was understand, you know, but you didn't know what thing gonna fall or what, you know.
Yeah.
Just had your harness and you know, you couldn't fall out, but you had to sit up there and guide that dude, you know.
Plus, when they let go of it, you probably let the helicopter go up some
Go
because
up,
it didn't
yeah.
have weight or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. That's what we had to. Those steel towers, see, what they do, they paint them things with muffins, with sock muffins. They call them. They just big old gloves was just like a muffin, you know, and they swab it on there, you know, and then where them joints are, they'd get stuck. And that's the way when you want to pull them towers apart, pull that top off, you didn't know when it was going to come loose, and you had to kind of watch. Of course, we had a pack system. We had all kinds of safety devices on them cranes, and they'd tell you how much, what degree you were, or what your weight you could pick up, or what weight you was picking up, you know, and you had to adjust it, you know. You had to watch that control a lot, and. But yeah, I've traveled all over this country.
But that was better than being in the road department?
Well, the road department, I enjoyed the road department. But I tell you what, there's a lot of politics. I mean, there's a lot of people on your back, you know, and back when I first took office, why, our budget was about $800,000-900,000. And of course,
and you had to do what? Pave all the roads?
yeah, you had to pave roads, that old coal mix, you know, and mostly they had to grade them and that had
Culverts.
Yeah, it made them. We made. When I first went in there, we made some boxes. They call them rabbit boxes. Made them cupboards out of small ones, and 12 inches, made them out of wood. You know, and back then, they didn't make them out. They didn't have tile or nothing like that. Of course, we made tile, but some of them was little old ditches, real small, and we just make them out of wood.
And put concrete in them? So you was like forming it?
Yeah. Excuse me. We had, in the workhouse too, you know.
Yeah, that was right over here off of Henderson?
It's right across from where Farm Bureau is.
Yeah, Henderson, right?
Yeah.
Or Sunset?
Yeah. It was there. And,
did you start the workhouse? Who started the workhouse?
That workhouse has been there for years, but we closed it in, I believe they closed it in 72 or 73.
Did they keep prisoners in there, or that's just where they worked from? How did that go?
No, they kept them in there. And these are just weekend warriors, weekend drunks, you know, most all of them, you know.
So it wasn't like a chain gang?
No, not when I was there. Now, I think it was back years ago. But now, I had one guy that he was a chef on a boat, the best cook you ever saw. And when he come off that boat, well, he's lived here in Cleveland, and he'd come to Cleveland, and he didn't have no place to stay, and he'd get drunk. They'd put him in jail, and they'd give him about 30 days in jail, and he'd cook for us.
Did they have the choice to work or not?
Well, most of them all wanted to work.
At least get out, right?
Yeah. Now we had two boys that got caught up here from down Dalton, Georgia, and they refused to work. They said they wasn't going to work. They got up here and they got drunk and they got put in public drunkenness, and they wasn't going to work. And I told them, I said, we're not going to feed you. We're not going to keep you in here if you're not going to work. They said, we're not working. So I went to talk to the judge, and the judge said, just take them back to Georgia line and turn them loose. So next day I just said, boys, we got to take a little ride. We need to go with me and see what you think about it. You know, and I didn't tell them I was going down there and turn them loose. I got down there to the Georgia line, and I told them, I said, that's far am I going.
You mean down there at Clara's or whatever they call it?
Yeah, going down Dalton Pike.
Yeah.
Got down there to the Georgia line, I told them, I said, hey, this is as far as I'm going. That's as far as I'm concerned. You get across that line, don't you come back to Bradley County.
And you was just the road superintendent,
Yeah,
right? But,
yeah.
but you ran the workhouse.
Yeah, I had the workhouse.
So that was under your
Yeah, I
thing.
was a road superintendent, yeah. And actually, we had a little house there that Mr. John Hughes stayed. He lived there in that house.
I don't remember the house being. I remember seeing the workhouse.
Yeah,
though.
the house was there. And John Hughes, he and his wife lived there. And we had now he took care of the night. And then we had a day man, Mr. Judge Pritchett. He worked during the day. And he was kin to, well, he lived out there off of Bates Pike, right in around the steps. And
Was it Wayne Pritchett? Not Wayne.
no, but anyhow, I forget now. He was married into the steps somehow or another
Yeah.
out there, and he was on the county commission.
Les Step.
Yeah, Les and them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. He lived right there next door to where Les lived. Yeah. Yeah, we had some good days at the road department. They, you know, back when I first took office in '71, if a holiday hit, they didn't get paid. They didn't get no vacation. The only time they got paid is when they worked. And I immediately changed that because when I thought they're entitled to a day off when it's it's a holiday.
Like everybody else.
Yeah. So I started that, and I started giving them a week off of vacation. Mm-hmm. And what we started doing is just start closing the week of Christmas. Mm-hmm. We'd give them the whole week off with pay. And then,
You can't do much with roads at that time anyway.
no, and that way, they appreciate it, and they'd help you better, And then after it'd been there 2 years, well, give them 2 years. 2 weeks for after
Now
2
I
years.
remember years ago I met you, and the first time I remember meeting you, I was with Charlie McKenzie and Troy Dixon, and there was a guy with you that they called Squeaky.
Squeaky Myers. Yeah.
What was his deal? Because you and him were like this, right?
Well, he was my assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The whole time.
yeah.
Even when you lost and came back, wasn't he back with your assistant then too?
No, now when he came back, he went to work for the city.
Doing what?
I don't know what he worked for the city, something. I don't know exactly what he worked, but he drove a pickup truck. He was more or less a handyman, I think, for the city. No, he never did.
Was he there when you took office, or?
No, he came to work for me after. Now, when I first took office in '71, Bernie Barger was the assistant. So Bernie stayed on with me, and then he had it for about 2 months, and he gave it up. Mm-hmm. When Jody died, they appointed Bernie Barger. Well, Bernie, he wasn't going to do it, so he resigned. And then that when they appointed me, and they appointed me for his unexpired term, and I stayed there. And then I had to run in '74.
So when did Squeaky come in?
Squeaky came to work with me in 1978.
Where did he get the name Squeaky?
When he talked, he'd squeak.
Did he?
Yeah. He worked for Herman Collins, of course. I didn't want to take him from Herman, and he wanted to come to work for me, road department. And I went to talk to Herman and asked Herman if it would be all right. Herman said, yeah, if he can better himself. I said, yeah, let him go. He'd be all right.
Did you know him before?
Yeah, I knew him through the elections,
Oh,
Of course, Mo, his brother, I knew him real well, That was he worked for the city, and I knew Mo, and then I got acquainted with Squeaky through Herman and them out there,
I wonder if that's any relation to Tommy Myers that works for the.
Yeah.
What's the relation?
Well, see, Tommy's daddy and Squeaky's, Tommy's daddy, Mo, and Squeaky they were brothers.
3 brothers.
Tommy Myers' daddy was Mo, and Mo and Squeaky was brothers. So Squeaky was Tommy Myers' uncle.
So that boy, that cousin of Tommy's that works for the city, must be Squeaky's son. I guess.
No, Squeaky's son worked for the fire department. Tim Myers, he's a fireman.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I know Tim.
Yeah, and then he had a brother.
Whatever happened to Tim? Is he still there?
Yeah, he's still in the fire department.
I had FFA with him.
Yeah.
So that's Squeaky's son?
Yeah. And he had a brother. I can't think of his name, but he just recently died. He had cancer. Yeah.
I never, to this day, realized that Tommy Myers and Tim Myers were related.
Yeah. Yeah, they're cousins.
It's a small world, isn't it?
Yeah. And see, Johnny Gilbert, the fence man. All right, now he was married.
He died, right?
Yeah, and he was married to Squeaky's sister. Oh, they was.
You can't talk about anybody, can you?
No,
They're all
there was about
related.
14 of them kids.
Myerses.
Yeah. They lived down there in the old field. That's where they lived.
What do you classify as the old field?
Well,
From where to where? Because that's where Troy Dixon was from, right?
yeah,
The old field?
the old field. All I've ever known, the old field was down there, kind of down in there where Blythe School's at. And up out there, up
Close to
kinda
the
on
just
Wildwood, down that way.
from Blythe School to King Edward.
King Edward, somewhere just right in there around.
Because there's a bunch of houses there on King Edward that kind of built the same way,
Yeah.
looked the same.
Yeah.
What they call that? They called that something. There's like 20 houses the same, and it wasn't the old field. It's got a name for it.
Wasn't Waterhouse, was it?
Might have been Waterhouse. I believe that's it. But wonder why they call it the old field. Was it a field?
I don't know. I don't know how it got to the old field. I think that's about where Presswood, he was.
No, he was from Galt. He was at the end. He was where Cameron's is.
Yeah, that's right.
Right
yeah.
about there.
Yeah.
Which was sort of the ritzy part.
Yeah.
I think. And then, but the old field must have been the old chair factory, I guess, or stove factories.
About all chair factories
Yeah.
and everything down in
Yeah.
there then, yeah.
So the Myerses are mostly all from down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
we accomplished a whole lot in the road department, I thought, in the last 4 years. We built 22 new bridges in Bradley County.
How did that get funded? Did they have?
Well, back then, we had this bridge program going, and the state would build a bridge, but we had to put up 20%. And what I did, I worked out a deal with the state. For my 20%, I would take the old bridge out and then let them build a new bridge, and then I'd put the approach back in, and I'd do the finish work.
What do you mean the approach, like tying the asphalt?
Yeah.
Which was a big deal, right?
Yeah.
The approach can be difficult.
Yeah, and I had the equipment to do that, and we didn't have to come up with no cash money.
Or engineering to hold the bridge up.
Yeah. So they did it all. And then there's a lot of these counties that I had a good friend over at Nashville that was working with the State Department, and a lot of counties, they just turned the money back in. And then he'd call me and he'd say, so-and-so county, they're not going to build no bridges. You want that money? And I'd say, yeah, I'm on
Why
it.
wouldn't they? Because they didn't want to fund the 20%.
Well, they didn't want to fund the 20%. They just turned the bridges back.
But you were funding it with what you're already spending.
Yeah. And see, another thing, we had a lot of we had some federal money. And I was president of the Highway Officials Association. And we had that federal money, and these counties was talking about they couldn't spend it. Because in order to spend that federal money, you had to have a 100-foot right-of-way. And so we all got together, we had a meeting, we got together, and we decided if the state would take over some of our roads, that we would give them that federal money. Well, they come in, and I told them that I'd give the county federal money up if they would take over Eureka Road, Lower River Road, Upper River Road, Ladd Springs, and Harrison Pike. If they'd take them over and maintain them.
So they were not state roads prior to that.
They wasn't state roads. So they agreed to take them over, and I turned that federal money over to them.
And you had to give them a 100-foot right-of-way.
Well,
right?
No. See, they handled the money. It was left up to them.
Oh.
You couldn't get out. You know, we couldn't afford no 100-foot right-of-way.
No, couldn't afford it.
We wasn't that money. We couldn't spend it, so we just give it back to them. And the counties, other counties, man, they jumped on that big time because they wanted the state to take over some of their county roads, which they did.
That's a big help.
Oh Lord, yeah. Just think, Harrison Pike, that state road. Eureka State Road, Upper River Road, Lower River Road, Ladd Springs. I tried to get them to take Blue Springs. I couldn't get them to take Blue Springs.
Too crooked, I guess, right?
Well, it was just, they just...
didn't go anywhere.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. Now, another thing, we got we got Urbane Road. See, the truss company up there, every time there was big trusses coming out, we had to block that road up there. They had to block it, to get through Tasso.
Yeah.
Well, I talked to some of the people that owned it, and about we needed to widen that road. I had a meeting with them, so I went to Euless Scalfing, and I said, Euless, we're having trouble up at Tri-State. I said, what would you charge the county for a right-of-way up through here? And I said, you've got property, and I said, Igene's got property, and Charlie Winkler's got property. I said, what would you take? He said, I'll tell you what I'll do. He said, if Igene will give his right-of-way, I'll give mine. And you go talk to Charlie Winkler and see which way Charlie will go. So I went to Charlie, and Charlie said, I'll give the right-of-way for the road up through here. Well, then I went to Igene. I talked to Igene. Igene said, Ed, I'll give you the right-of-way if you'll build me a culvert that my cattle can go from one side of the road to the other. And I said, that's not no big deal. I said, what I'll do, I'll put you a big drain tile in there, concrete the bottom of it, so your cattle can go from one side to the other. So that's how we got Urbane Road built. And
now, what was there before? Nothing?
Just pasture field.
Was it a pig trail?
Wasn't no road or nothing.
Can those cattle go under the road now?
Yeah,
I've never seen that.
But they wanted to. But see, it's all sold out now.
But there's still a culvert under there.
A culvert where they can go in under.
That must be just past the ball field.
Well, it's past the ball field, and it's right in there about where Perry Stone's at. But
now all of that has led to Perry Stone's, the Y, several subdivisions.
Oh yeah. And it's been a real asset to Bradley County, and so then I talked to the state. I went to them and asked them if they could anyway get some help on that, and they said, well, what we do, we can make an industrial road out of that. I said that we've got some industrial money. I said that if you build a road and you put the stone down, I said you've got your own crushing plant. You put the stone down, build a road, or we'll pave it. We'll make it an industrial road. So that's what we did.
And it is going to a couple of industries.
Yeah,
back
going
there.
to the industrial, yeah.
Well, if you hadn't have done that, if you lived on Tasso, you'd just have to.
Oh yeah, you couldn't, well, see, look at that Tire State Trust up there.
Oh, it's
all them warehouses.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah, the warehouses,
Yeah.
sure. They wouldn't have been there.
Mm-hmm. And another thing we got done, well, the first part of my term was Stewart Road. See, they had it cut off out here at Tasso Road there next to the Y.
Yeah.
And Ben Longley and I,
You just dead end.
yeah, he just dead end there, didn't go nowhere. And we talked to Ben Longley, he was state representative or state senator then. And we got together and went to Nashville, and we got them to extend that road across the railroad track to tie into Michigan Avenue.
What was there? Who owned the property?
I don't know. I don't know who owned that property. It's been so long, but
Maybe the Beatties. Isn't Beatties down in there somewhere?
they might have, yeah. But see, we was in the process of getting Peach Orchard Hill Road for that road to go all the way to Benton Pike. When I got beat in '86, and it never did go no further.
Boy, that would be a big asset.
yeah.
They really need that now.
Yeah.
More than they did then.
Yeah, and see that S curve down there, that big sharp curve right there below Geno's Tires.
Yeah.
We, the man that owned that property there, he lived up north somewhere, and we'd
Now
always,
there's houses there and you couldn't
we
move.
couldn't do it now. It'd be hard, and it was the right time to build a good 3-lane
Because once
road.
you get past that curve right there, it's kind of straight,
Oh,
sort of.
Yeah, and we wouldn't have had to bought no right of way out through there hardly at all. Mostly all that was woodland. We could take it off the left hand side of that road.
Do you see stuff like that and say, boy, what if?
Yeah.
You're just driving all over town seeing that, I guess.
Yeah. We've got traffic problem here in Bradley
Well,
County.
boy, we do. Especially up there at the end of 20th Street.
Oh,
And,
Lord, yeah.
I mean, if you're going to turn left, I don't know how long. I guess they need a light there. Well, they
Yeah.
got a light there, don't they?
Yeah,
But it's still crowded.
yeah. We've got traffic problem. It's bad.
I get to where I'm avoiding Paul Huff now. And it was made to take traffic off.
You'd be surprised that the traffic is coming up 25th Street. When I first moved there in '62, where I live now, I moved there in '62. There wasn't nothing but pig trail through there. Went out to when that goes out there to M&M Mars.
Well, I remember my cousins lived across when it was MC Hedrick's.
Yeah,
And where Ace is, wasn't there a field?
yeah.
And then MC Hedrick's was next. And from there on, it was pretty much just, it was just a small
Yeah.
2-lane road.
Well, see, they built 25th Street. Let's see. Trying to get the year that they built it, but anyhow, Purcell out of Nashville built 25th Street, and see, had a whole hillside up there, down there where Checkers is at, and all that in there. See, that was just a swamp.
Yeah.
Well, see, Neil McCleary, he owned that little old Oakdale Superette there on Key Street. That's the only thing.
Across the street.
Yeah, across the street. Well,
Didn't he get robbed there?
yeah, he got
Killed.
he got killed there. Yeah, and so anyhow, he hired those construction workers, those big pans and stuff, to fill all that in. They moonlighted, they call it. While they was building 25th Street, they'd work overnight, and they filled all that
How
in.
deep was that, would you say?
Well, see, down there on the corner where the bank's at, see, Neil had, there was a basement, concrete basement there, and he was going to put a arrestor there. And then when they filled all that in, there, you know, there was a drugstore there where Ellie's Boots is at now.
Originally?
Yeah, there was a drugstore there first, and then you come on up through there. And they up there where Checkers is at, right in there about where that barbershop is, there's a big spring there.
You know, you can drive through that parking lot at times and see water coming up through the asphalt. I guess it's the spring trying to come up.
Well, see, they don't know it, but there's a big concrete cupboard down through there that was been put in there years and years ago. Neil put that in.
How deep is it right there, would you say was the original ground, like 10 feet or 20?
Yeah, about 10 to 20 feet. And down there where Crystal's at, see, that wasn't nothing but a swamp. There's stumps in there bigger than in my car. Back, you know, way back under, you know.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of stuff.
Now, if you drive down, I coming down Mount Peerless the other day when school was let out, I was backed up to the nursing home.
Yeah.
I can sort of see why they not. School traffic's an issue, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Always has been.
Well, see, all just like Oak Grove School, they've got problems parking in the road. You've got North Lee, you've got the elementary school. I mean,
Yeah, they're all the way out. Old Coy.
And you take out at Hopewell. I mean, they've got problems.
What's the answer to all that?
I don't know.
I don't know that. I guess people think. I guess back years ago they always rode the bus, right? Mm-hmm. Now you got everybody's picking their kid up no matter what.
Well, so you got kids. If they're in the city, they can go to the county. Of course, if they're in the county, they have to pay to go to the city. Is that right?
I always get that confused. I think if you're in the county, you got to pay to go to the city, and if you're in the city, you have a right to go to the county.
Yeah, because you're paying city taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
or county taxes.
I think that's part of that argument on
yeah.
That argument the county commissions had about that part they're wanting to bring in the city or something. It's always an argument.
You take out there to Hopewell, Dee, there between the fire hall and the school. See, the school system bought that extra property there, and they was going to use that to get the cars off of Highway 60.
Yeah.
But that ain't never.
I was coming back from. If you think it's busy there, come back from Georgetown about.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know where. It's something. I don't know how they're going to solve it.
Well, I told. I don't know who I told, but it was on the school board out there at. They could make incoming traffic to that elementary school or the school there on not the new school but the next school. They could cut down that tree line down towards the school. They could cut that traffic in there, you know. Mm-hmm. Out there at.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah, but I don't know. They got too many schools out through there until they get that road widened out.
Seemed to me like they'd be better off to put schools way out in the county.
Yeah.
And stay away from the normal traffic.
Yeah.
But what I know, right?
Yeah. Well, I tell you, it's been an honor for you to have me here.
Well, I really appreciate you coming.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking me. And Dee, I want to say one thing: you do good work.
I appreciate
do good work.
That.
Some of these places I've been in, especially these office buildings, I can tell when Dee Burris has been there.
You're still a good politician, Ed.
Yeah, well, I can tell you because
I've been in.
Yeah, and I've been into a lot of different buildings, and I can tell every joint's
right on.
Yeah, Yeah, perfect.
We try. It ain't easy.
No, it's not. I've got a guy that's moved up here from Atlanta. He's a finisher. He finishes, and he's the best I ever seen. Actually, I mean everything. I was over there the other day. He lives over here on that street in there behind where Cletus Benton lived on the circle. You go up there. You know where Cletus lived over above the duck pond.
Pine Street.
You know, you just go up past the duck pond, go up at the top of the hill, and you make a right and go out that street. What is that, Highland?
Dead ends.
Is that Highland?
I think it's Pine.
Well,
Might be Highland.
Yeah, it dead ends. It's supposed to dead end, but don't it makes a circle.
That's right.
He lives out there, and he was putting a flooring in a little old building out there, and everything. I mean, it's got to be just. It beats anything I ever seen in my life, and.
You can get overboard.
Yeah.
Because things move.
Yeah.
You can be straight today in 90-degree weather and it's moved a little.
Yeah.
It's a tough business.
But it's, you've done it on your own.
We've eaten breakfast together off and on since I was 14.
Yeah. Yeah.
We could fill that table up with people that have died.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Think about them all.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're gone. You know,
Yeah. Johnny Holland.
Yeah.
Doyle Cry.
Yeah. Old Doyle.
Jim Price.
Yeah, Jim.
Larry Presswood.
Yeah. And they gonna be some, you know, they ain't not too many left. Eddie Cartwright and
Eddie Cartwright's still here.
yeah.
He calls you Road Man.
Yeah. Yeah, he's about the only one. Well, let's see. I guess he's about the only one that started back when we started.
The first day I was there, it was Gene Officer, Johnny Holland, and Goldie Wattenbarger.
Yeah.
Remember Dennis Daniels?
Yeah.
Neil. His
Yeah.
daddy, Neil, he used to come and eat with
Yeah.
us.
See, we used to.
Tom Cry,
Yeah. We used to meet up there at.
Rebel.
Well, we met up at the Cherokee.
Yeah, the Cherokee.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and remember Pam
Yeah.
and Judy? Remember
Yeah.
Judy?
You know, Pam's mother, she's still working up there. That's her mother up there at Charleston at that farmer's market there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's Pam's mama.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know, when Pam quit, I never saw her anymore. Did you?
She worked down at Peyton's, I think. Yeah.
Troy Dixon?
Yeah.
I remember Troy came in one morning, he was half asleep, you know, and he says, "Anybody sitting here?" And Pam went, "I don't think so." It really made Troy mad.
Yeah. Yeah, well, good old days, boy. I tell you
Brackett
what.
Hooper?
Yeah, Brackett. Him and old Brackett, he was something else now. He didn't care.
Coon Dog came in there a few times, remember him?
Coon Dog, yeah.
Glenn Cantrell?
Yeah. Yeah, old Coon Dog, he's sitting there, he was something else. You know, when he got out of the federal, they signed him to me.
To work?
Yeah, he had to work 10
How
hours.
much did he weigh then?
I don't know. He's heavy. He had to work 10 hours a week for 5 years.
For 5 years.
10 hours a week. That was his.
Did he get to stay at home?
Yeah, he got to stay at
So
home.
he had to come and work for you?
He had to work for me.
I'd say that was pretty easy on him.
10 hours a week. Well, I asked his parole officer about if he could work more time and get that off. And he said, well, yeah. I said, he can work 40 hours a week. I said, as long as we get that time off. I said, I told Coon Dog, I said, we'll get it off quick, you know. So he worked. He'd go down there about every day.
You know, he always wore his glasses like that. Remember that?
Yeah.
He was a likable guy,
Oh,
wasn't
yeah, yeah. He'd give you your shirt off your back.
he? And he was so likable.
Yeah. And he was.
He'd sit with those glasses like that, and he'd look around the table, but he'd never move his head. He just moved his eyes.
Yeah. Well, I guess I better go.
Ed, I've enjoyed it, buddy.
I appreciate you having me. I've
Appreciate-
enjoyed it. And
How old are you now, Ed?
88.
88.
Feel good.
You look good.
Yeah, I feel good. I got to go back to my eye doctor.
You got any secrets?
No.
No, nothing to longevity?
Just longevity. And of course, my mother, you know, she lived, be old, and I've got a sister that's 94.
Is that right?
My other sister, she's been dead now 3 years. 4 years. She's been dead 4 years, and she was 90. She was 96 when she died.
How old's Roy Stepp?
Roy is 91.
Is he getting around still pretty good?
He can get around. Dog, he's
Carrying the oxygen, isn't he?
Yeah, he just don't.
Is he
Roy
still
just
smoking?
about just give up.
Is he still smoking?
No, he don't smoke.
How long did he been quit?
Well, he's supposed to been
6
quit
months.
for longer than he had, but he's been slipping a little bit and smoking. But he's having a little trouble. He's walking. He just about give up. Just sits in there and watches TV all the time. And I call him. I'll go by and see him. But I talked to him.
He's smart, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, that gas situation got him back,
Yeah.
that Winnebago deal, I've always liked that Reba now, buddy, she's a good lady too, And
Remember Weaver used to eat with us?
yeah, old Gene.
Gene Weaver, yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, I liked him.
Yeah, old Gene, I reckon Clifford's still alive.
I think he is, yeah.
Yeah.
He's in the carrying place or something.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of them carrying places. Yeah.
All right, Ed. I've enjoyed it, buddy.
I've enjoyed it, and I'm going to the house.